Welcome to Above Replacement Radio. I am your host, Chris Gianta. I might be becoming a bad baseball fan who can't enjoy the romantic things because of advanced statistics. 15 years from now, I want to be on the early baseball committee. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran.
I literally have the Fangraphs hoodie, the baseball reference t-shirt, just repping some stats, you know what I'm saying?
It's not necessarily Hall of Fame. It's not necessarily above average, but we can guarantee you we are better than just the standard replacement level college sophomore.
And welcome to Above Replacement Radio, where we're talking baseball. Whenever. I'm your host, Chris Gianta. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, I'm doing well today. We've got some very good luck, as you just mentioned before we started, with breaking news right before the show or just during the show. You know, like there have been less instances, I feel like, this year of, this news broke right after we got off. Like, it's mostly been as we've been recording or right before. And we have breaking news that came out just about maybe 10 minutes ago. Julio Rodriguez is getting an extension with the Mariners. It's about 7 or 8 years. The numbers aren't even out yet. That's how new this is. And the funny thing is Jesse Sanchez had it as at least $200 million guaranteed, which is more than I could have thought at this stage of his career, given some of the extensions that we've seen from players at this stage, which is good for him. But he has up to $450 million in potential earnings. I don't know if that's in club options, player options, vesting options, but that is a wide range. But let's talk about Julio first, because Mariners are really banking on this. I mean, you know, they've had some very good luck with Julio this year, panning out pretty immediately. You know, that follows up some tough luck that they had with Jared Kelnick, and they've figured out who their guy is, and they're locking him up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's a very good sign for what the Mariners have in store. I mean, I think, over the past few years, like after 2018, when they traded Diaz, Cano, I think Gene Segura, Nelson Cruz was let go.
Let go.
He was, let off to free agency. I think there was kind of a narrative of like, oh, the Mariners they're going very small market. They're not going to be spending money. And now here they are, like over the past off season and during the season, they're showing that, now they're going into, a competitive stretch where they plan to be competitive for a very long time right now.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think the thing on a lot of people's mind when it comes to the Mariners is just ending the playoff drought, getting them there. Obviously, if you're the Mariners, you have to look beyond that. Like, yes, of course, the priority is get to the playoffs and take away that drought. Of course, it's the longest drought in the 4 major sports. They haven't made it since 2001, but they got to make it, and they're trying to make it to the World Series. They're trying to make it consecutively. They're trying to be what the Astros have been for the last half decade, and signing a guy like Julio, locking him up early for what could end up being a team-friendly deal is very vital to that process.
Yeah, and if you're unfamiliar with the talent of Julio Rodriguez, I mean, he just has it all. Outs above average wise on defense, he's in the 91st percentile in all of baseball. He has a 97% sprint speed, 97th percentile sprint speed, which has resulted in him having 23 stolen bases this year, even after missing some time. Along with that, a barrel rate in the 92nd percentile, and OPS at 799. I forget where that puts his OPS plus, but I imagine it's somewhere in the 120s, 130.
Since the start of May, his weighted runs created plus is 147.
Yeah, so he's been 47% above average just at the bat, and then you add that onto his amazing defense and amazing base running. And I mean, at the age of 21, like, that is someone that you want to have for a long time, and the Mariners are putting their stamp on him, saying we will have you for a long time.
Yeah, if you want more ideas of just how good Julio is, since the start of May, he ranks 23rd among all position players in FWAR at 3.4, and he had an IL stint.
Yeah.
And and like for the Mariners' sake, it's not like an IL stint that they have to really worry about lingering because he got hit by a pitch. That's just something that happens. It's not like a built-in sort of injury that you have to wonder if it's going to come back or not. It was just a freak accident. So that's definitely encouraging health-wise. After the home run derby, it felt like it was just a ticking clock until he was going to get extended. And it took about a month plus for that to happen, which is a very short time.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, I think a move like this, like kind of, I mean, for a while I kind of had a contrary viewpoint of like the Mariners front office, and I guess this move doesn't show what Jerry Dipoto is doing, because I mean this isn't in his control. But like I was thinking, like, Jerry Dipoto, people talk about how awesome he is, but he hasn't gotten the Mariners to the playoffs. But Jerry Dipoto has built, I think what he's building with Seattle, I mean, he's building something that's going to be good for the next 4, 5, 6 years at least. I mean, you look at who's locked up on that roster right now: Robbie Ray, George Kirby, Logan Gilbert, obviously Julio Rodriguez for a very long time. Ty France, I mean, I know he's struggling, but he's a good piece to have for a while. JP Crawford's been emerging. There's a lot of great pieces.
Yes, there's guys like Harry Ford and Emerson Hancock in the minors as well.
Yes. And then, who knows if they maybe potentially extend Luis Castillo over the offseason as well. There's a lot of good action that the Mariners have done, and one of their top prospects panned out, and they're rewarding him and basically rewarding their fan base by extending him for what is probably going to be a very long time.
I have a question. So you mentioned everyone the Mariners have going forward, guys like Kirby and of course Julio and Gilbert and Ray. Do we still have any sort of optimism on Kelnick?
I mean, sure. I mean, he's what, 23 right now?
He's 23. He's had like 3 or 4 big league stints that just haven't gone well. It's still something that can work out. I mean, he was like a top prospect in the game. I'm sure at the very least he can pan out to be a league average bat with plus defense and base running that could get you like a 3-win season. But I don't know. I don't know where we're at with him as far as if he can be the number 1 prospect he was projected to be, but he could be a future piece for them as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Because obviously there's a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths from what we've seen from him in the majors. It's not even been like it's not even just been that he hasn't hitting, like he's not making contact, he isn't walking, his defense hasn't even been that outstanding, his base running has been and I don't want to give up on him yet. I mean, he is still 23, but the Mariners definitely really lucked out with Julio, because the fact that he's, gone to superstardom in just a few months makes up for the fact that Kelnick just has not panned out anyway whatsoever yet. Yeah,
very true. And I mean, like, yeah, I mean, now I think with the great thing with the Julio thing, I'm seeing a face you're making, but the great thing with the Julio thing is now, like, you don't have to push all your eggs in the Jared Kelnick basket. Mm-hmm. And now all the eggs are in the Rodriguez basket. And if Kelnick works out, it's kind of a bonus.
So Jeff Passan just tweeted out the some of the numbers. 210 million guaranteed over 14 years.
Wow.
14 years is huge. Let me check on what the average annual value of that would be. Obviously it has potential to grow to more than that. I don't know if you hear the thunder in the background, by the way, but I'm very much in a thunderstorm. That's $15 million per year. That's pretty remarkable. That's average annual value wise, that looks like a steal for the Mariners, but also, I mean, 14 years at age 21, you're probably not getting offered more than that. And you know what? 210 million is 210 million. Julio is never going to have to think about contracts really for the rest of his career, which is excellent. I'm sure there are opt-outs at some points.
Yeah.
Which,
yeah, absolutely.
Even then.
So it was right that it was that it was between 200 and 450 million dollars.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, people and all these things, look at the average annual value of someone getting signed in their first year of control and be like, oh wow,
Only
what a
15 mil a
steal.
year. Yeah.
But I mean, like, it, even when you take into consideration control time, it does still seem like a bit of a steal. Like, I mean, the next 2 years he was going to be paid about league minimum, like under $1 million. So you take that into consideration. First year arbitration, you still get pretty underpaid, and then second and third year arbitration, it's a little more accurate to what you will be paid in when you reach free agency. And then, I mean, what, 9 years of free agency are bought out in this deal too?
Yeah, well, I mean, when you have a guy for 6 years of control, why would you give them free agent level average annual value in a contract extension?
Exactly.
Especially when they're 21 years old, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, yeah, it, like, even considering control time, it is a bit of a steal.
I feel like all eyes are on Baltimore now, right?
That was my next point I was gonna make.
Has
Yeah.
to be. Like, this is, I mean, you know what? Adley's taking this to Peter Angelos right now, being like, you see this? This is what you're doing. This is what we're doing here.
Right.
Which, you know,
Exactly.
I feel like maybe they structure it a little differently for a catcher compared to a center fielder. Like 14 years is insane. And also Julio is like 3 years older or 3 years younger than Adley. So Adley's not getting something like this. I could see him getting like between 8 and 9 years in an extension right now though.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, especially like he's what, 23, 24,
He's
and he's a
24.
catcher.
He's older than Juan Soto.
Yeah, and he's a which is funny. And he's a catcher. So like catchers age much quicker than a center fielder.
Yeah, they also move positionally, you know, like you could be seeing Adley at first base come like 2028. So.
Yeah, you could definitely see Adley make a move to first base if the Orioles want more longevity out of him. But there's also the thing of like, it's much easier to find, not that it's easy, but it's easier to find a great center fielder than it is to find a great catcher. So I mean, I think Rutschman does bring more value in that.
Yes.
But all being said, he's not getting a 14-year deal. We know that.
No. I mean, yeah, there's many factors in that, but I want to talk about the structure of this Julio contract, like not just the 14 years, but the fact that it has potential to go up to 400 million, 450 million, according to Jesse Sanchez of MLB.com, which is very funny, because that might be club options, it might be player options. I highly doubt it's player options. I really want to believe it's just like 50 vesting options that he has.
Yeah, me too.
Is that realistic? No, not at all. But I would love to live in a world where there's like vesting options through the entire Baseball Reference page, where it's like you have to get a certain amount of plate appearances, you have to get a certain amount of doubles, triples, home runs, the entire slash line, total bases, defensive runs above average, wins above replacement.
Yeah.
And it's like
just major
there's
major
like 30
incentives.
there's like 30 different scenarios of how much he'll end up earning through this contract.
Right.
It's like you combine that also with like player opt-outs, or I guess club options. I'm sure Julio will have an opt-out in somewhere in this contract.
Yeah.
I find it hard to believe he's guaranteed to be there for 14 years, whether
right.
like, you know, unless, you know, the Mariners want to opt out of it.
Yeah, 14 years, especially at this price. It's not like, I mean, Tatis got $340 million. It's more believable that he wouldn't have an opt out as opposed to Rodriguez,
especially with what has transpired since.
Well, yeah.
Which, whatever. I'm sure nobody could have seen that one coming. But yeah, with 15 mil a year, like there's reason to believe Julio could come to a point in his lifetime where he could be making more. But either way, he doesn't have to worry about anything ever. Like he doesn't have to worry about ARB going into off seasons. He doesn't have to worry about a contract year. He doesn't have to worry about extension talks. You know, on like strict deadlines. He just gets to go out there and play and not think about it, and while earning 200 million guaranteed.
Yeah, for sure.
which is dope.
And the Mariners have committed to their the new guy that they're going to probably build the franchise around,
Yes.
which is
And this is a
pretty
guy that you want
insane.
to build your franchise around.
Yes. Um,
A
just
guy that's top of the line in wins above replacement this early in his career. Like good at everything. You want that. And all he can do from here is go up. Right?
yeah,
Like just do it at a higher level. Like, hey, he's slashing 300, 400, 500. He's not, but let's just say that was a slash line. Let's make it, 325, 425, 525, right?
yeah,
Like, that's
right.
really the only way you can improve is just do it more. And he's only 21. He's still probably adjusting to major league pitching in some way. So there's very good reason to believe he's going to.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be the person to make way too early comparisons, but he's already signed up to be in Seattle longer than their last
That's
superstar
true.
center fielder.
That is very true.
Yeah, so shout out to Ken
Well, I
Griffey
mean,
Jr.
Ken Griffey Jr. left because he wanted to go back to his hometown, and thankfully Julio is of foreign descent, and there is not a Major League Baseball team in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, well, there's not a baseball team in the Dominican Republic that can offer him $200 million.
Yes,
So
that is true.
so yeah,
Thankfully for the Mariners, they don't have to worry about that specifically.
yeah. So yeah, Julio, he's off the market for 14 years. So sucks for everybody else.
Damn right it does.
Yeah. Yeah, a real statement move by the Mariners. Like they're not messing around here.
I love that everyone's calling it the Braves model, by the way, because there are other arrows you can point to. Like look at the White Sox extending Eloy Jimenez and Luis Robert before they even stepped onto the field.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, that wasn't like a ton of free agency brought out. That was like maybe a year or two of that.
Right.
But yeah, awesome job by the Mariners. Awesome for Julio. I think everyone wins here. Like I don't even really see this as much of a team friendly deal or a player friendly deal. I think this is perfect on every side.
Yeah.
Or close to it.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
perfect
agree.
is a strong word, but I think everyone's happy here for sure.
I agree. For sure.
I don't think
sure.
anyone's crying for him to fire his agent. I don't think anyone's crying overpay. I think this is as good as it could have been at this stage.
Yeah, and the Mariners have their most valuable asset for 14 years.
Yes.
So,
Can you not hear this at all?
No, not a single thing.
Okay. Like when the thunderstorm is like directly above you and it's like there's very limited like time between the thunder and lightning and it's just louder.
Yeah.
I'm like either there right now or getting close to it because it's definitely picking up a lot and it's raining obviously. It's how Seattle's in the news. It's raining.
Yeah. But we mentioned at the top of the show that we've had very good luck with the breaking news the past couple episodes. I mean, like 20 minutes before we started recording last episode, it was
Artie Moreno selling the Angels. A lot of AOS news.
It was breaking that Artie Moreno was exploring selling the Angels about 10 minutes before we started recording today. There's an announcement of a Julio Rodriguez extension. However, a couple episodes ago, we had bad luck where about 25 minutes after we stopped recording, Chris Woodward of the Rangers was fired. Manager of the Rangers was fired by Texas, and that was a real domino effect as Rangers pretty much cleaned house. I know their president of baseball operations, John Daniels, was I saw that. I saw that lightning. I know their president of baseball operations, John Daniels, was fired. And this episode might go into rain delay. I don't know.
I don't think I have time for that. Unfortunately, I got plans today.
Yeah. So John Daniels was fired. Chris Woodward was fired. Was John Daniels like serving as their GM? Because I
Yeah,
didn't hear.
he had been there forever. He had been serving as the GM until Chris Young took over, and then he became president of baseball ops. He had been there for like 15, 16 years. He was there for the World Series years in 2009 or 2010 and 2011. I definitely
Yeah,
didn't see this one coming, but I would just like to say this has all been AL West news, with Artie Moreno, with Julio, with John Daniels / Chris Woodward. So unfortunately, at approximately 10:50 on Monday, the A's will officially announce their relocation to Las Vegas.
yeah. We're sorry
Yeah,
to.
we are just going to tell you now.
Yes, yes. We're
And
delivering
the
news like the.
Astros cheating scandal part 2 will be coming out as well.
Yeah. So, sorry to break the news too early, but we
Yeah.
had to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Rangers, yeah, cleaned house. I remember when the Woodward news came out, Jeff Passan referenced like their part of his article was like previewing his article was talking about their terrible record in one-run games, and then I looked and they were 6-24 in one-run games, which is literally insane.
That is insane.
And that was at the time. But what did you think about all this? What did you think about all this?
I mean, I think it makes sense to steer the franchise in a new direction. It seems like a lot of the culture has changed in that front office ever since Chris Young got in there. They signed 2 major free agents over the offseason. They spent $500 million on just 2 players over a decade. And they signed John Gray. They get Cole Calhoun. They're making a statement that I think very few people saw coming. Obviously, it hasn't worked out for them record-wise this year, but you could see where the path is for the Rangers to become a competitive team. And, just with the new identity, I think comes having Chris Young going and getting his guys. And that just doesn't appear to be guys like Chris Woodward. And it appears like he maybe wants more control, or maybe just the ownership likes what he's doing and wants it just a completely new oversight of things. But I think this is a necessary move for the Rangers. Managers certainly, because you referenced that record in one-run games that can be pointed to, bullpen management, lineup construction, guys that just aren't getting it done. And I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm trying to one thing I want to look at. Oh, yeah, the Rangers don't have a bad farm system.
No, they don't.
I'm looking
Josh
at
Jung.
MLB.com farm system rankings has them at 6th in Major League Baseball.
And they just put out a new list too.
Yeah, it
makes sense. Jack Leiter, Kumar Rocker, both in the same system.
Yeah,
which is hilarious.
As of 2 days ago.
Yes.
So yeah, I guess the whole thing of cleaning house wasn't necessarily a thing of like, this operation has failed and we need to restructure. It's like, well, it's more of a thing of like, I think we have some good things upcoming and we need to get the right guys in place, as opposed to like, oh, this was horrible. It's like, oh no, it's just we have things upcoming. We need new guys. We need my guys. That's what Chris Young is saying.
Yeah, especially in a division like the American League West, where the Astros are going to be there. We all know that. They're not going anywhere. I know that they do have one of the worst ranked farm systems right now, but I think there's still reason to believe they can continue to develop talent pretty consistently, because you look at non-top prospects that have come up and made an impact for them, guys like Framber Valdez, Luis Garcia, Jose Urquidy in the rotation. They've had Ryan Presley from the Twins come in and be an elite reliever. In the lineup, like Chas McCormick has been a solid defender and a decent bat overall. They're going to continue to do this, and the Mariners are obviously up and coming. The Angels are unpredictable, but also very predictable at the same time. So who really knows there? You gotta treat the Angels like a competitor, even though they might not be, because they have the talent to be such. They just are not. So yeah, it makes sense. The Rangers gotta have some sort of big response to there's a lot of the culture changes going on in the division, and these just appear to be the right moves. You have guys that you can build your team around, like Corey Seager and Marcus Simeon. John Gray has kind of been, maybe not an ace, but he's been the guy that they signed over the last couple of months. I know he did start out not doing so well, then he got hurt. But other than that, he's been a rock solid pitcher. He has a 3.49 FIP and a 3.83 ERA. He is on the IL currently, but when you look at let's see, since June 1st, a 2.99 ERA with a 3.24 FIP. You know what? That's an ace. I'll say it. That is an ace.
John Gray?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my Rangers player to watch this year. So
Yes, sir.
fine. By the way, not bragging, off subject, my 2022 players to watch looking much better than my 2021 players to watch. I had a terrible year of players
I was
to
gonna
watch.
say
last year.
I don't know how much of a humble flex that is if your 2021 players to watch were abysmal.
Yeah, I would say my 2021 players to watch was like the 2021 Diamondbacks, and now the 2022 ones are like the 2022 Diamondbacks.
I have to
they're
check if I
not
still have access to mine.
they're not at the bottom of the barrel anymore.
Yeah.
They're like
I have
kind of
to
below
check
average.
in on mine again. I don't even remember who I had for a lot of teams. I know that some of my guys have definitely worked out. One of which is a candidate for how about that. Neither of us ended up using him. Don't ask how we know that, but yeah.
Yep. But anyway,
Don't worry about it.
so the Rangers, so they fired Chris Woodward. It was mentioned by Jeff Passan that they had a wretched record in one-run games, and as it stands right now, the Rangers are 9-26 in one-run games. That's crazy. Sometimes it's used as a measure of luck. Sometimes it's used as an evaluation of your manager because of how you manage in critical games and how one decision can decide that game by one run. But if the Rangers simply went 17-18 in those games, average result, they would be 65-59 and 2.5 games out of the wild card. And that's just if they had average one-run game numbers.
Yeah, they would still be below 500. Like, what if they had the 2021 Mariners effect? They'd be like the 4 seed.
Yeah. If they were 20 and if they were 20 and 15 in those games, they'd be in a playoff spot. That's it. Yeah.
I know that does sound super lame. It's like, oh, if they won all these games that they lost, they'd be a better team. But they're all winnable games. By all accounts.
They're one-run games.
Yeah.
So I think Rangers upper management sees that, and it's like, all right, the future is closer than we think. We have the 6th best farm system in baseball. We have Corey Seager playing like a very, very good player. John Gray is working out. Marcus Simeon has recovered from a very bad start. And the pieces, the things are aligning. We have this extra playoff spot that was just implemented this year. The future is coming in a little bit closer than initially thought. So I think the Rangers are just like, all right, time to commit here.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Good for them, because it's been 2016 since they've been to the playoffs. Probably since they've even had a winning season.
Right.
It's time. Yeah, it's time for Texas to come back for sure, because they have such a fun playoff atmosphere. I can't even lie.
Yeah. It's a fun time over there. And I mean, like, Arlington is a baseball town, and when they're in the playoffs, it's pretty well known.
By the way, Matt Moore is on the Rangers, and he's been my 2021 Phillies player to watch with the Rangers. I'm not kidding. He's pitched 58 innings, has a 2.02 ERA and a 3.07 FIP.
Wow.
I win retroactively.
Yeah, that's like when I picked Bryce Harper is my 2020 NL MVP. Like,
It's gonna be
yeah,
like when Juan Soto wins 2023 NL MVP, and I had him as my 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023 NL MVP.
yeah.
Like I won 4 times. I'm still good at this. I've predicted 4 American or National League MVPs.
Yeah. Yeah, he just needed to get out of Philly was the thing.
For sure.
Yeah, so anyway, yeah. So yeah, Rangers
Wow.
made some changes for sure. That's should be interesting. And by the way, random, but Marcus Simeon in his last 81 games is an 820 OPS. So
Yeah.
along with pretty good defense, very good base running also. So he's been kind of what they signed up for the past 3 months.
I'm also very intrigued with Dane Dunning. Like I want to go deeper into him at some point, not right now. This is very funny though. He's a 4.19 ERA and a 4.19 FIP.
Nice.
And I bet he probably has close to a 4.19 xFIP because his home runs per 9 is 1.0.
Right.
Although he is quite a ground ball pitcher. He is a 4.0 xFIP. And then a 4.18 expected ERA.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that.
He is not going to regress or resurge. He is exactly what he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he has been a ground ball guy, especially as of late. Like he's really transformed his ground ball rates over the last couple of months. I believe over like the last month and a half or so, he has the highest ground ball rate among all starters, like even Framber Valdez.
Wow. That's wild.
Yeah, I could be wrong on that, but he's up there.
If you're beating out Framber Valdez in a ground ball competition, that's like beating Mike Tyson.
You might as well like get the Nobel Prize.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you got to be like a special agent of the US now. If you're figuring out how to get more ground balls than Framber Valdez, like
that's harder than out pizzaing the Hut.
Yes, it's harder than out pizzaing the Hut. Was trying to find more slogans.
Let me make sure I'm getting that right because I need to check that. He's like definitely close at least. Because he has been very good over whatever period of time I'm thinking of here.
Old Dane Dunning tangent.
Yeah.
Gotta have it. We gotta love it.
Yeah, he was traded for Lance Lynn, of course.
Yeah. He was my 2021 season. Rangers player to watch.
Nice.
He's been
okay. He's not quite there, but he is the 4th highest ground ball rate since July 22nd.
Nice.
He is 10% below Framber, so that is dead wrong. But he's only behind Framber, Logan Webb, and Ranger Suarez, so he's first among American League right-handers.
Nice.
Yeah. Since July 22nd.
Always a good sign because this average slugging percentage on ground balls is like 300. So
yeah,
getting ground balls.
Also since then he has a 3.51 ERA, a 3.87 FIP. Yeah, he's been solid.
Nice. Yeah. So
Dane Dunning. Heck yeah.
Dane Dunning.
Just kidding. He's just a guy.
He's just a guy.
One day.
We're not going to give him a how about that for his 3.51 ERA. Unfortunately, we won't do that. But anyway, Rangers are up and coming. A team that has been relevant for the past few years and is really making some separation in their division right now is the St. Louis Cardinals, kind of just cementing themselves right as just the rightful owners of the NL Central right now. I think they're 5.5 up or 6 up on the Brewers. They've won 21 of their last 27, taken over the past month. They've been pretty crazy. They have, so with them going 21-6 over the last month, They have the second best record in baseball in this span behind the Dodgers. They have 6 runs per game and 3.5 runs allowed per game, which is a large difference. They're first in batting average with a 289, first in on base percentage with a 364, first in slugging with a 511, first in OPS with an 875, and first in weighted runs created plus with a 147 weighted runs created plus in their last 27 games.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, the Cardinals have really taken over. What have you thought about their dominance?
Well, I mean, it certainly has set them apart in the National League Central race. It feels like they've pulled away pretty considerably. And I mean, I wouldn't say it's over yet, but I don't know. I don't trust the Brewers offense, and I really never have since probably like maybe 2019 when Christian Yelich was Christian Yelich.
Yeah.
To be fair, he is having like his best year since 2019 currently, but it still is not even remotely close.
Yeah, no, you don't want. Yeah, it's not.
I've mentioned their offense has just been crazy. Obviously, they've had the Pujols resurgence, but like if you look at some of the leaders in offense, it's just like almost all Cardinals. Like it's Lars Nootbaar has been up there, obviously, top tier name, of course. Paul DeYoung has been better. He was a how about that of mine. It's just been universal. I mean, obviously, Paul Goldschmidt is Paul Goldschmidt, and Nolan Arenado is the same. They've been doing what they've been doing. But it's been, all across the board. You don't want to pitch to anyone in this lineup right now.
Yeah, and like a lot of the success has come from guys you'd expect to have that success. Nolan Arenado in this 27 game span is hitting 316 with a 188 weighted runs created plus. Paul Goldschmidt has a 212 weighted runs created plus. Lars Nootbaar, as you mentioned, 181 weighted runs created plus. Albert Pujols, it's been well documented what he's been doing, but he has a 296 weighted runs created plus in 57 plate appearances in the Cardinals' last 57 games. Even Corey Dickerson, he's not getting that many plate appearances, but he has 47 plate appearances in the Cardinals' last 27 games, and he has a 220 weighted runs created plus, which is pretty wild to see. Yeah. And then on the pitching side of things, the Cardinals are also 5th in FIP in their last 27 games, and Adam Wainwright has been doing very well with a 2.25 ERA and 2.52 FIP in 40 innings pitched in this span. Jordan Montgomery, it's been well documented what his acquisition has meant to the Cardinals, as he has a 0.35 ERA and 1.72 FIP since he was acquired. And Andre Pallante, you've talked about him. Andre Pianti,
yeah,
you've mentioned him. He's a kind of a hybrid starter / reliever type guy. He's thrown 19 1/3 innings pitch and only allowed 1 earned run.
He might be a guy that's actually challenging Framber in ground balls.
Yeah, along with a 1.99 FIP. So yeah, like things are really clicking for the Cardinals. And last thing I'll say on them for this point is, the Cardinals are 21-6 in this span. The Brewers are 11-14. So the Cardinals have gained 9 games on the Brewers. I think they were behind when this stretch initially started, and now they're 6 up on the Brewers. And I mean, it would take a lot for the Brewers to take over right here.
Can we even think about like the possibility of Jack Flaherty returning?
I don't know what his injuries have been. It's just been,
because I know that he is like rehabbing currently, but like he just has not been healthy since the second half of 2019, where he was like the best pitcher of all time.
Yeah, it's been weird.
Like if you don't remember 2019 second half Jack Flaherty, let me just remind you real quick, from July 7th through the end of the season, his ERA shrunk from 4.64 to 2.75. His FIP shrunk from 4.74 to 3.46. That's a run and a half each. And I'm waiting for Baseball Reference. When you click on the game logs in Baseball Reference and it loads,
Yeah.
Yep, that's where I'm at right now.
But I know he had a 0.91 ERA, I think.
0.93.
0.93.
0.93 ERA over 106 in the third innings pitch.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. A 232 FIP, obviously. That is absurd. That is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it was historic. I remember looking and like it was a certain like a split. I think it was a split statistic, but like only Jake Arrieta had a better.
Yeah, that makes sense because he was also ridiculous in second half of 15.
Yeah.
People talk about Zach Greinke getting robbed of that Cy Young, and like I definitely see where they're coming from, but it's like, do you remember second half Jake Arrieta though?
Yeah.
Like, were you there?
It's something to behold. But anyway, the Cardinals also don't really, there's no reason for them to slow down because they have the third easiest strength of schedule remaining right now.
Yes. Also worth noting, this is just a classic Cardinals topic, but they have 8 outs above average as a team in the month of August. That is fourth in the majors behind only the Diamondbacks, Angels, and Rockies.
Yep.
Which, it's funny because they just traded Harrison Bader, who was, I don't know if he was the face of their defense, but he was the face of like being exclusively defense, and they haven't missed a beat.
Yeah. They do great all around. That's for sure. Helps out their pitching staff tremendously for sure. So yeah, the Cardinal. So now I guess the question is like, so if they'll probably end up getting this 3 seed. They'll probably
face the 6 seed,
which means they'll face the 6 seed. It'll either likely be Padres or Phillies.
I would love a Phillies Cardinals rematch.
Me too.
That would be really sweet. Cardinals Padres, I guess, like that was a series a couple of years ago, but it was 2020 with no crowd, and it was a 3-game set, and it was a good series by all accounts. But like, I would love to see Cardinals Phillies. Like, the last time the Phillies made the playoffs, they lost at the hands of the Cardinals. They were heavily favored. Obviously, they had the rotation of Cliff Lee, Roy Halladay, Cole Hamels, and I feel like I'm missing
Roy
one.
Oswalt.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, and of course Kyle Kendrick.
Yeah, Kyle Kendrick, obviously. Who could forget?
Legend. But yeah, also what I love about a potential Cardinals Phillies matchup is I feel like it is very much opposite styles. Where
yes, I agree. I'm just thinking about the pitching staffs.
Yeah, like you've got absolute strikeout machines with Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola, versus you got Adam Wainwright on the other side, Jose Quintana, Miles Michaelis, Jordan Montgomery. Like none of them.
It would be very funny to see like Adam Wainwright outduel Aaron Nola, who it is like one of the best strikeout to walk pitchers in baseball versus just 40-year-old.
Yeah, and then the other side of that is also like defense versus defense. The level. I mean,
it's just put the ball in play versus please, so God, I'm begging you, put it over the wall. Nothing else will work.
Yeah.
That is very true.
Yeah, very true. I mean, the lineups, they're not that opposite. I mean, like Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt provide plenty of power for the Cardinals, but like the Phillies are a very powerful offense. I feel like the Cardinals have more contact guys in general. If I'm thinking of like Tommy Edman, but I don't know. Maybe that's not as big of a point, but like the pitching staffs and the defenses are very much opposite. And I think that would be a very fun matchup to see.
I agree. Like for entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, and that would probably likely give us a Braves Padres series as well, which I think would be fun.
Yeah, lots of star power there, which would be fun. It is. Yeah, I am realizing just now, like it's pretty funny that a wild card team is going to be hosting.
You know what would be very funny if we got Soto versus Acuna in Padres Braves?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That
The
would be
2018
electric.
Rookie of the Year battle.
2018 Rookie of the Year, but also we were hoping for it in 2019, and because the Braves gave up 10 runs in the first inning,
Yeah. Yeah, that's
we
true.
never got it. But it would be very funny in all the time of anticipating we just get in the playoffs with Soto on the Padres.
Right. Yeah. Um, I'm trying to see what the Phillies are at defensively this year. So they're
Oh, I
third
mean,
worst in outs. They're
yeah,
third worst in outs above average. I just remember.
they're also third worst in August.
Okay. All right. So I just remember. Mark Simon had a tweet that said that since Rob Thompson took over, the Phillies' new interim manager, that they had a positive defensive run saved, which, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it would have made sense, but I think outs above average is telling us something different. So, I mean, yeah, it would still, the narrative stands. The Cardinals and Phillies defense.
Well, they did. So in July, the Phillies did have 5 outs above average as a team.
Okay.
It has gone down pretty drastically in August. Where was it in June? It was 0. That's probably when Rob Thompson took over. So I mean, like they've been like probably at worst like a little bit below league average since Rob Thompson took over, according to outs above average, which is pretty good by Philly standards.
Yeah, right. I mean, not even it's not even Bryson Stott who's bringing it up. He's 43rd percentile. Yeah.
To be fair, that might still be bringing it up.
Well, true. It's not a loss, so that's a gain for the Phillies.
He might lead the team still.
Yeah.
Maybe JJ Realmuto is better. That's probably what it is.
Oh yeah. Oh well, yeah, for sure. But I don't even know if catchers account for outs above average. I just know that they have the framing numbers. What was the Phillies outs above average in May? Let's take a look.
Probably bad. That would be my
Phillies had
gut reaction guess.
A lot of this happened in May.
Oh wow! Oh my goodness! -21.
Had the worst outs above average in all of May, and it was -21. I think that was when all the chaotic stuff was happening, like all those highlights that were like the clown music is put over it, like those weird.
No, that is what it is. April, I'm assuming, was probably not that much different, but probably not as severe.
I saw it was -4, I think.
Yeah,
it isn't that bad.
About expected.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the Cardinals.
That's the Cardinals. They might face the Phillies. So if that happens, it's gonna be
great.
Kind of funny to watch.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for it. I'm rooting for Dodgers, Mets, Cardinals, Braves, Padres, Phillies in the NL. That's what you want. Sorry, Brewers.
Yeah, Brewers have obviously.
You have cool pitching, but like there's nothing on that offense that scares me as a pitcher.
Brewers have had their time of playoff dominance. I mean, they've been there for 4 straight years, and everyone knows everyone's tired of the Brewers.
Exactly.
Like that's what all I'm seeing.
Yeah, I want to see the Cardinals that have made it every year since 2017.
Too much Brewers. They've made it 4 years in a row. It's like the 50s Yankees over here. It's just they're too much. They're in the playoffs too much.
They had such they cruised into it in 19. They cruised it into it in 20 as well. 21, of course, you win the division. Yeah, but I mean, like, you think of all those teams too. It's like the 20 team, like that team could have gotten it done, and they just didn't. The 19 team, they could have gotten it done, and they just didn't.
Yeah, I'm just tired of all the national attention. I'm tired of all the national attention the Brewers garner. Like, they don't deserve this. I don't need to see Corbin Burns on my screen every day on ESPN. Like, it's just I'm tired of it. I'm tired of.
He's already given up more home runs this season than he did last year. Why am I supposed to believe he's good?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's
If
just
the
too much.
2020 Brewers lost 31 games and couldn't win a World Series, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm tired of it. Like they're just like they're I'm tired of the Brewers, and yeah, we need to move on
They
from them.
they need to invest in a big bat. I know they already did with the Yelich and it hasn't worked out, but they need to do it again. I'm sorry. If you want to win a World Series, that's what you got to do because you have the pitching and you have the bullpen to get it done, even without Josh Hader. Also, the vibes have just definitely gone down since they traded Hader, even though he hasn't been good.
Yeah, like and yeah, Taylor
Like it took a
Rogers has
week.
a
It took like a week or two for the Padres being like, "Yeah, you're not a closer anymore. Sorry."
yeah the and then on the flip side, I think Taylor Rogers has a 5.63 ERA
Yeah.
with
Yeah, Devin Williams
Milwaukee.
is their closer now, which makes sense because he's been very good this year, like one of the best
Yeah,
relievers in the league.
yeah, he's been good his whole career for sure.
Mhm.
So yeah, I guess that'll lead into players to highlight.
Yes.
So yeah, for our so yeah, we'll do our Friday, August 26th, 2022 edition of Who do you have for us today?
So my player to my how about that was someone that we briefly mentioned on last show that deserves more than just a brief mention. I'm talking about Trace Thompson. I am 2 months removed from seeing him play for the Lehigh Valley Mudhens the Toledo Mudhens in Worcester, Massachusetts as a media member. And since then, he has been acquired by the Dodgers for cash considerations. And since July 1st is slashing 323, 429, 646 for a 1075 OPS and a 198 weighted runs created plus. Despite being 60 plate appearances below the qualifier, he ranks 17th in position player FWAR among all hitters with 70 PAs. His weighted runs created plus is fourth in that stretch at 198, like I mentioned. During this span, his average exit velocity of 95.1 miles an hour trails only Joey Gallo and Aaron Judge among the 357 players with at least 25 batted balls. He's averaging a hard hit ball for every batted ball that he has over this span. On that same list of 357, his line drive rate of 37.5% ranks sixth. And he has also been excellent against sinkers this year. Among the 353 hitters with at least 25 plate appearances that ended on sinkers, Thompson's 783 slugging ranks fourth, his 536 WOBA ranks third, his 380 expected batting average ranks sixth, his 705 expected slugging ranks ninth, and his 512 expected weighted on base average ranks fifth. During the span, 50% of his ground balls have gone to the pull side, which is good for him because his 650 batting average on batted balls to the pull side ranks second on the aforementioned list of 357, and his 1200 slugging percentage ranks 10th. The Dodgers have obviously been otherworldly during this stretch, and naturally, Trace Thompson is to thank for it, like we all expected.
Yeah, Trace Thompson. Yeah, it's not Mookie Betts that's driving the way. It's not Freddie Freeman. It's not Will Smith. It's not
It
Trey
is kind of
Turner.
Freddie
It's not
Freeman, but it's also Trace Thompson.
no, it's all Trace
No,
Thompson.
no. Sorry, the fact that Freddie Freeman has 5.5 FWAR this year.
You don't have a 1000 OPS since July 1st, or at least a 1075. You don't. So
Yeah.
get out of here.
What if he does? That'd be really awkward.
That would be pretty awkward.
Let me check.
Exposed.
Old take exposed from 2 seconds ago. The world record old take exposed.
I'm speed running it.
Yeah, you know what, Freddie Freeman? Get you and your 339, 409, 492, 900 since July 21st out of there. You aren't providing enough for this team.
Yeah, get out of here. Yeah. That's our second Dodger of the year. So that's pretty nice. So we have insurance there. My player to watch is from a team I've realized just like maybe the maybe the least relevant team of the year, which isn't a bad thing, but it's like they've just made the least amount of headlines.
There are like 5 guys I'm thinking of right now, and they're all on the same team.
Yeah, well, like there's just this team that we just haven't talked about all year, and it's the
Because
Diamondbacks.
yes, it is. It is the Diamondbacks. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, like they're not awful, but they've never been in the playoff race. But like they're doing better than last year, so it's not like a thing of like, oh, they need to clean house. It's like, I don't know, they're just there. They're just a team that's existed, but they've had one guy that's kind of stuck out all year for different reasons, and over the last 17 games particularly. And shout out to you actually kind of pointed me out to his like bad BABIP luck like a couple months ago.
Under 200 for a while.
Yeah,
shout out to me for knowing exactly who you're talking about.
I haven't even named him.
Yeah, it's crazy that this first baseman that used to be for the Orioles, that used to be on the Orioles, that is now on the Diamondbacks and has very good outs above average for a first baseman, especially has been doing well over 17 games.
Yeah, I'm talking about Christian Walker.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, shout out to you for pointing out his bad BABIP luck. And actually, it's a free league, so it doesn't matter. But I picked him up in ESPN Fantasy, fantasy baseball, a couple, like maybe 6-8 weeks ago, and it's been working out. So yeah, it's pretty nice. In his last 17 games, Christian Walker is hitting .377 with an 1149 OPS and a 210 weighted runs created plus. Out of 183 qualifiers in this span, his average ranks 6th, on base percentage ranks 6th, slugging percentage ranks 3rd, and OPS ranks 3rd. And out of 58 hitters with 50 plus batted balls in the span, his expected WOBA ranks 2nd. His strikeout rate has gone from 20% before the span to 14% in the span, and his average exit velocity has gone from 89.7 miles per hour to 91.7 miles per hour. So a couple mile per hour increase. His barrel rate in the span is 15.1%, which ranks tied for 3rd out of 58. And I remember this being a tweet, so I'm not taking full credit for this stat, but it still remains true. I don't know if like you sent it out or someone else sent it out, but he's the only player in baseball with a barrel rate, outs above average, and chase rate in the 85th percentile or higher. So it's a very unique set of skills that Christian Walker has,
especially for a first baseman.
For a first baseman, like barrel rate, you're hitting the ball, you're hitting a lot of hard fly balls that likely end up in homers. I think
I don't know it. Not at Chase Field.
Yeah. Well, I think I looked up randomly one day. I think 55% of barrels land as home runs. So a lot of barrels are home runs. Then you have outs above average. He's doing it on defense, and then chase rate, where like a lot of guys who have a high barrel rate are probably guys that strike out a little more. But Christian Walker is not swinging at a lot of pitches out of the zone. He's been a very unique player, and making the Diamondbacks, not awful this year. So Christian Walker.
By the way, the Diamondbacks defense this year, been very Cardinal-esque.
Yeah,
I think over the last month or so, they have a above average wins above replacement for their position players, but they also have a 92 weighted runs created plus. Because their defense has just been that good.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, they got Walker, Marte, who else? Yeah,
Walker,
exactly.
Marte,
not very relevant.
Zach Allen.
Yeah.
One person that I almost put for this was Jake McCarthy.
Right.
What, have you never heard of Jake McCarthy before? Yeah, I hadn't either before recently. But he had been doing well over his last whatever games.
Yeah,
since happen. August 9th, he has a 929 OPS.
Nice. So now we'll go from the players. Now we'll go from the highs to lows with players or subjects that have been underperforming at their Friday, August 26, 2022 edition of
Slightly Alarming.
Who do you have for us today?
My slightly alarming was actually mentioned earlier in the show. I don't have too much on him, but I think a lot of this speaks for himself. I'm talking about Ronald Acuna Jr. He has not been bad by any means, especially, considering most of the people that we put on this segment. But since June 13th, that's 2.5 months, he's slashing 253, 342, 345 for a 687 OPS. He has 4 home runs over his last 59 games played. That's not Ronald Acuna. That's not the guy that we've known him to be ever since he became a professional baseball player with the Braves, not even a major leaguer. He's never had an ISO below 230 in his career, and this year it's down to 135. It's almost 100 points below his previous low, and that was in 2019. His 188-point drop in slugging percentage between 2021 to 2022 ranks 6th worst among the 169 qualified hitters. His ground ball rate has gone from 31.2% to 49% this year, the highest increase on that same list. No one has had a higher percentage of ground balls from this season to last than Ronald Acuna Jr. During the span, 57% of his batted balls have been ground balls or pop-ups, which means it just goes straight up. That is the 11th highest rate among the 118 hitters with at least 150 batted balls. And his strikeout and walk rates are relatively the same as what they've been in his career. His walk rate's maybe like 1 or 2% down, but he's still Ronald Acuna Jr. He just isn't not making the right contact this year.
Ronald Acuna Jr.
Slightly alarming.
Really says something about the Braves when Ronald Acuna Jr. is having a down year. Freddie Freeman's gone, and you wouldn't even be able to tell by their record.
Nope. Acuna was also out a month.
Yeah, he was out a month. It's pretty.
Yeah, they've just casually had Vaughn Grissom come in at shortstop and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna put up 200 weighted runs created plus in my first 20 games." By the way.
Yeah. And
they've had Michael Harris and Spencer Strider come in, obviously.
Yeah, Spencer Strider is just I'm gonna be the best strikeout rate guy in all of baseball.
Yeah.
I'll just be that guy.
If you want.
So my slightly alarming is another guy we also mentioned previously in the show. And maybe his struggles are a little more pronounced and well out there, but I figured I'd highlight him. I'm talking about Josh Hader. It's been so bad. In his last 16 appearances, he has a 13.50 ERA and an 8.49 FIP. He's allowed 6 home runs in 12 1/3 innings pitched. And out of 225 relievers with 11 plus innings in the span, his ERA, FIP, and home runs per 9 are all the worst. Out of 448 pitchers with 25 plus batted balls allowed in the span, his expected WOBA against is 5th worst, and his expected slugging against is 4th worst out of 448. This is kind of a weird stat, but there is a big decrease. His strikeout rate went from 44% before the span to 32% in the span, which 32% strikeout is still elite. But the fact that there's a 12% drop is maybe there's something going on here,
especially within the same season.
Yeah, for sure. His walk rate has gone from 8% to 13%, not great. And his barrel rate has gone from 8.7% to 22.2%. And out of the 448 pitchers with 25 plus batted balls against in the span, his barrel rate is the highest. So just a breakdown of how bad things have turned for Josh Hader over the past 8 weeks or so. It's been very, very surprising considering how he probably was the best reliever in all of baseball from 2018 to 2021. That's changed. And he had a 105 ERA through July 3rd.
I was gonna say he was still an all-star, right?
Yes, he had a 105 ERA and a 1.72 FIP through July 3rd, and now he's a 5.17 ERA and a 3.96 FIP. So I don't know. Maybe it's a rare blow up over 8 weeks, or maybe it's a sign of things.
Nonetheless.
it's an amazing blow up. So Josh
Yeah.
Hader.
Slightly alarming.
So yeah, that's it for players highlight. Now we'll get into a preview of the weekend ahead, where I'm going to be highlighting series to watch. Daniel will be highlighting the day-by-day pitching matchups. And for series to watch, I will say there's 3 in particular. You got Astros, Orioles. That's at Minute Maid Park. Orioles have a big test.
It's still so funny anytime you go over series to watch and the Orioles are in there.
I mean, they're a team
Like they
to
are.
watch.
No, like they absolutely are. Like they deserve to be there. It's just so funny because I was not
It
ready
is
for
very
any of
funny
that.
because it was around like mid-July where I made the turn where like I'm gonna start mentioning Orioles series because anytime before that I'd look at series to watch and it would be like, you know, 3 months ago Astros Orioles, it's like that's not interesting, or Astros are gonna roll all over them. But yeah, not the case anymore. But yeah, the Astros versus Orioles. Orioles are 2.5 out of a wild card spot. They had a crazy good win last night where they were down to the last out. Kyle Stowers hit a solo home run,
Did you
pushed
see
it
what
to
happened before
extras.
that?
Yes, I did. Adam Engel dropped a ball in foul territory. So I mean, really, if a season could be defined in one game for both the White Sox and the Orioles, that's kind of it. That's kind of it there. And then, you know, Felix Bautista goes 2 innings, not allowing the runner from second to come in, and the Orioles walked it off. So staying in that playoff hunt, being one of the most entertaining teams in baseball right now. They're going to have a 3-game set against the Astros. That's a big test. Then another series to watch is Mariners Guardians. Similar records. Guardians at the top of the AL Central by 4 games right now, which is pretty crazy to think about. And the Mariners have a secure spot in the wild card race right now. So and a great pitching matchup tonight too. And then I think the series to watch is Cardinals Braves at Busch Stadium. 3-game set.
Well, it's the Sunday night series, so of course.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually a thing where the Sunday night baseball teams are actually a fun game to watch.
That's true.
So, you know, Cardinals Braves, that's going to be a great series to watch.
So looking at day-by-day matchups, starting tonight on Friday, you have Tyler Anderson going for the Dodgers against the Marlins at Lone Depot Park. You have Cade Cavalli making his major league debut for the Washington Nationals, one of the top prospects in baseball. The top Nationals pitching prospect, pretty much the only good prospect they had pre-Soto trade. So that's going to be exciting. Should definitely check that one out tonight. He will be facing the Reds. Reed Detmers will be facing for the Angels against the Blue Jays. They'll be facing Mitch White. Chris Bassett will be facing the Rockies for the Mets. He's been excellent lately. Michael Wacha will be facing the Rays for the Red Sox at Fenway. He's been big lately. I saw him make a really good start against the Orioles on Saturday last week. You will have Lance McCullers Jr. pitching for the Astros against Kyle Bradish and the Orioles at Minute Maid, of course. Like Chris just mentioned, Alex Wood and Joe Ryan will be facing each other in Giants Twins in Minnesota. Johnny Cueto will be facing the Diamondbacks for the White Sox. He's been awesome this year. Very out of nowhere for him, for sure.
Yeah.
Spencer Strider and Jose Quintana will be facing each other in Cardinals Braves. Garrett Cole and JP Sears, a former Yankee, will be facing each other in Yankees A's. Of course, I think the A's are avoiding Montas, so it is very unfortunate this series. Then you have Shane Bieber and Logan Gilbert facing each other tonight. And matchup of the night comes from Cubs Brewers in Milwaukee. It's going to be Justin Steele versus Freddie Peralta.
Yeah, that's a good matchup. Matchup of the night for tonight.
Yes.
You didn't go Gilbert Bieber?
I went with Steele Peralta. Gilbert has been
Yeah.
struggling over his last few starts, so that's why.
Yeah, I did see his ERA is a little higher than I remember it being.
So on Saturday, I looked at the very first matchup and stopped looking at matchups because I had already found matchup of the night. So I'm going to be looking at most of these for the first time. Kyle Gibson will be facing the Pirates for the Phillies at Citizens Bank Park. Ooh, that's a good matchup too. I'm still going to go with the other one. Dustin May and Sandy Alcantara will be facing each other in Dodgers Marlins. You'll have Eduardo Rodriguez facing the Rangers for the Tigers on Saturday. Dean Creamer and Jose Urquidy will be facing each other in Orioles and Astros. You will have Merrill Kelly facing the White Sox for the Diamondbacks. He's had an excellent year. Drew Smiley and Brandon Woodruff will be facing each other in Cubs Brewers. I know on paper that sounds like a wash, but Drew Smiley has been excellent lately. Alex Cobb versus Sonny Gray in Giants Twins. That's gotta be like a 2016 classic, maybe not 2014, but the two older pitchers. Charlie Morton versus Jordan Montgomery in Braves Cardinals. Zach Plesac versus Luis Castillo in Guardians Mariners. The matchup of the afternoon comes from Angels Blue Jays in Toronto. You got Shohei Ohtani facing Alek Manoah.
Nice.
Yeah. Between that and May and Alcantara, I think that's slightly the right move.
Right.
So on Sunday, you have Corey Kluber facing Nick Pivetta in Red Sox Rays at Fenway. You have not a lot. I mean, Ross Stripling facing the Angels for the Blue Jays in Toronto. Herman Marquez versus Max Scherzer in Rockies Mets at Citi Field. Justin Verlander will be facing the Orioles in Houston. Of course, he's on a Cy Young campaign at age 39. Dylan Cease will be facing the Diamondbacks for the White Sox. Adrian Sampson and Eric Lauer will be facing each other in Cubs Brewers. Clark Schmidt will be facing the A's for the Yankees after the injury to Nestor Cortez sent him down. Aaron Savali and Robbie Ray will be facing each other in Guardians Mariners. Jake Odorizzi and Adam Wainwright will be facing each other on Sunday Night Baseball in Braves Cardinals. And match of the day this time does come from Dodgers Marlins. It is Julio Urias versus Edward Cabrera.
Nice.
Edward Cabrera is becoming must-watch TV. He hasn't allowed a run in his last 22 and 2/3 innings pitched. Julio Urias, of course, is one of the better pitchers. Cabrera throws a 95-mile-an-hour changeup like it's nothing, and you're going to want to watch that one for sure.
Yeah, Orrias, I'm pretty sure over his last like 8 or 9 starts has an ERA under 2.
Yeah.
Cabrera's got crazy stuff. Even if he doesn't do well, just stay for the stuff.
Yeah,
is what we're saying. And that should do it for this installment of Above Replacement Radio. We hope you enjoyed this one. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and want to watch the conversation as it happens, go to the YouTube channel and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is called Above Replacement Radio. If you want to follow us on social media, follow me on Twitter at Chris_Gianta, and follow Daniel on both Twitter and Instagram at Daniel_Curran, and follow the show Instagram at Above Replacement Radio for all the show needs. We hope you enjoyed this one, and we will hope to see you on probably Monday or Tuesday, where we will be talking.
This conversation is over.